that he perceives this one wife, this one relationship, as she's so perfect, she's such a saint, she was so nice to us.
Every time a police officer walks into the room, you know something big is about to go down. And today was no exception. The air inside the courtroom felt heavy, charged with tension so thick you could almost hear the weight of unspoken truths, pressing down on everyone present. Robyn Brown, once portrayed as the loyal fourth wife in the Sister Wives saga, now stood in the center of a legal firestorm. Under oath, she had just been caught in a devastating lie, and the fallout was immediate, raw and explosive. Meri and Janelle Brown, two women who had spent years being silenced, were no longer holding back. With unshakable resolve, they stepped forward, armed with undeniable receipts and the courage to expose the truth about Kody. Truths that could change everything the public thought they knew about the Brown family. The moment Robyn's fabricated narrative started to unravel, gasps rippled through the courtroom. She had tried to paint herself as the innocent bystander, claiming she knew nothing about the financial decisions Kody made, no influence over property sales, and certainly no hand in the recent financial collapse. But those claims shattered. The second Meri produced a stack of damning documents, proving Robyn's signature had been on multiple financial transactions over the last 2 years. Janelle, sharp and unflinching as ever when it came to finances, followed with a series of bombshells that left the courtroom stunned. She revealed how Robyn had been secretly holding joint property deeds, manipulating family bank accounts, and working with Kody behind the scenes to cut both Meri and Janelle out of critical decisions. She played the victim, Janelle declared, her voice steady but filled with fire. But she was never just along for the ride. She was driving the car, and she knew exactly where she was going. The judge called for a pause to review the newly presented evidence, but by then the internet was already ablaze. Clips from old Sister Wives episodes resurfaced, dissected by fans on Reddit, TikTok, and YouTube. One scene from season 15 went viral again, Robyn insisting she only wanted peace, followed by a confession that she and Kody had private discussions about the family's future without the others present. But nothing compared to the leaked audio that Janelle had allegedly recorded just last year. In it, Kody's voice could be heard telling Robyn, "They don't need to know everything, we'll handle it our way." That single recording, now spreading like wildfire online, could completely shift the outcome of the case. Then came Meri, the woman once known for her quiet loyalty, now transformed into a force of her own. Her eyes burned with years of pent-up betrayal as she addressed the court. "I spent years being loyal to someone who never had my back," she said, her voice sharp as glass. But watching Robyn stand here, lying to everyone's faces, pretending she's innocent, it's sickening. More evidence rolled in. Financial transfers from family accounts into Robyn's personal accounts, supposedly for household needs, but in reality, funding luxury shopping, private trips, and even exclusive school fees for Robyn's children, while other Brown kids reportedly went without. To fans, it was the ultimate betrayal, proof that Kody always had a favorite and that Robyn was willing to lie under oath to protect her own comfort. But the revelations didn't stop at money. As fans dug deeper, the conversation shifted to something Robyn had tried to bury for years, the truth about her 3 eldest children and their biological father, David Jessup. Before Kody entered the picture, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna had a history and a life with their father. But according to former family insiders, Robyn didn't just let that past fade. She actively erased it. She supported David's decision to relinquish his parental rights, paving the way for Kody to legally adopt the children. While it may have been framed as a fresh start, to many it felt like the deliberate erasure of their true origins. The most disturbing moment in this erasure came in the form of a gift, a custom family portrait Robyn presented to Kody. In it, a younger version of Kody sat surrounded by Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, as if he had been their father from the very start. The problem? That reality never existed. Fans quickly noticed that the portrait eerily resembled an old photo of Kody with Christine and her children, except Christine's kids had been replaced with Robyn's. It was as if Robyn had rewritten history itself to cement her position in the family. Even Kody looked uncomfortable on the episode when the portrait was revealed. The act sparked outrage among viewers, who accused Robyn of manufacturing a false narrative for the cameras, a calculated attempt to reshape the family's history and place herself at the emotional center. That was the day fans gave her the infamous nickname Sobbin' Robyn, a name that stuck after she tearfully explained the painting as a symbolic memory she wanted to create. But instead of sympathy, the moment left many feeling uneasy, a visual reminder of how far Robyn was willing to go to control the story, both
to hear that Kody is telling Janelle that the boys knew to apologize to me. I didn't know he was doing that.
To many viewers, that infamous portrait wasn't just a gift. It was a statement, a calculated move wrapped in tears and sentiment, designed to reshape how people saw Robyn's role in the Brown family. It was the kind of emotional performance that could tug at the heartstrings, yet leave others feeling manipulated. And for anyone who thought it was a one-off, they were mistaken. Over the years, Robyn had built a pattern, delivering tear-filled monologues at pivotal moments, often justifying or defending decisions that cast her in a questionable light. One of the most talked about examples happened during a family church service. Robyn stood before the congregation, her voice shaking, tears streaming down her face as she spoke about the importance of saving oneself for marriage. Then came the confession. She hadn't waited, and she deeply regretted it. The implication hung in the air like smoke. She wished she had saved herself for Kody. While some in the room saw a woman laying her heart bare, others felt the sting of what that really meant. The unspoken message seemed to diminish the life she'd had before Kody, and by extension, the children who had come from that life. It wasn't just regret, it felt like an erasure. This tendency to rewrite the past bled into one of the most pivotal moments in Sister Wives history, when Kody legally divorced Meri so he could marry Robyn. Publicly, the reason was to give Robyn's children the security of adoption. Privately, many fans saw something far deeper, the legal, emotional, and spiritual elevation of Robyn above the other wives. Meri's sacrifice was heartbreaking, stepping aside for the sake of the children. But in the eyes of viewers, it was another step in Robyn's quiet climb to the top of the family hierarchy. In the years that followed, tensions grew, and nowhere was it more visible than during the COVID-19 pandemic. Kody enforced strict household rules, but only one home seemed to follow them to his satisfaction: Robyn's. The result? He spent nearly all his time there, praising Robyn's kids for their loyalty, while barely visiting the others. Meanwhile, Janelle and Christine's children, many now adults, began to drift further from their father, feeling abandoned, overlooked, and replaced. The favoritism wasn't subtle. It played out on national television. Then tragedy struck. The death of Garrison Brown shook the family to its core. In the aftermath, Kody's public regret hinted at a man suddenly aware of the bridges he had burned. Viewers watched as he tentatively reached out to Janelle and Christine's families, seemingly realizing just how much he had lost. But Robyn's next move left many raising eyebrows. She announced that she and Kody would start making annual trips to Wyoming, Kody's home state, steeped in memories with his original wives and his childhood roots. To fans, it felt too familiar. Another attempt to plant her children into a history that wasn't theirs. They already had their own roots, their own biological father, and an early life that had nothing to do with Wyoming or the Brown family's origins. This sudden family pilgrimage seemed to echo the same pattern: the portrait, the sermon, and now the symbolic journey into Kody's past. It was déjà vu. At the heart of all of this lies a simple truth: history cannot be erased. And yet, time and again, Robyn appears to try. Whether through legal adoptions, emotionally loaded speeches, sentimental artwork, or carefully chosen travel plans, the pattern remains the same. Reshape the past to make the present look better, with Kody firmly at the center. Social media has noticed. Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and TikTok comment sections overflow with fan analysis, comparing old clips, pointing out contradictions, and calling out moments where Robyn's version of events doesn't match the documented record. One fan put it bluntly, "Robyn doesn't just want to be part of the story, she wants to rewrite the whole book." The problem is, in rewriting that story, the real lives of her children, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna, risk being diminished. Whatever pain or challenges existed in their earlier years, it was their truth. Pretending otherwise does them no favors. Children, like anyone, deserve to have their origin stories respected, not altered to fit a new narrative. Meanwhile, the divide between Robyn's children and the rest of the Brown family has only grown. Whether intentional or not, Robyn often presents her kids as the most loyal, the most respectful, the most deserving of Kody's love. The consequence? 13 other Brown children left feeling sidelined, many openly expressing disappointment and even resentment toward both their father and the fractured family dynamic. For longtime fans, it's a bitter contrast to the show's early years when, despite the challenges of polygamy, the Browns seemed united in trying to create a loving, inclusive environment. That vision has crumbled. Now the focus is on favoritism, fractures, and the power plays at the heart of it all, with Robyn almost always in the middle. She may believe she's crafting a better family story, but the truth is written in every rerun, every confessional, and every court document. You can repaint portraits, cry through speeches, or take symbolic trips across state lines, but you can't delete what's already been filmed. And in the eyes of many fans, Robyn Brown didn't just join the Brown family.
I don't know what to think or feel when Kody sits there saying, "Oh, I'm so in love with all of my wives, and I'm also in love with Robyn." It's like,
Kody sat alone in the quiet living room, his mind racing as the weight of his collapsing world pressed down on him. The air was thick with tension, almost suffocating, as if the walls themselves were closing in. Outside, the world kept moving, but inside this house, time felt frozen. He replayed the heated arguments, the accusations, and the looks of betrayal that had been thrown his way over the past weeks. He could still hear Janelle's voice, firm and unyielding, calling him out for his choices. He could still feel the sting of Meri's cold silence, a silence louder than any words she could have spoken. And Christine, though she had moved on, her absence still lingered like an open wound that would never fully heal. Kody had convinced himself for so long that he was in control, but the truth was now undeniable. The family he once ruled over was gone, and nothing could bring it back. Robyn entered the room slowly, her eyes red and swollen from crying. She had been crying almost every night lately, though she tried to hide it from the kids. The moment her eyes met Kody's, the unspoken truth passed between them. Things would never be the same. "We can still fix this," she whispered, her voice trembling. But even as the words left her mouth, she knew they were empty. The damage had been done, and it was far beyond repair. The financial struggles, the endless public scrutiny, and the fractured relationships had eaten away at whatever foundation was left. Kody reached for her hand, but the touch felt different now. More like a desperate attempt to hold on to something slipping away than a genuine connection. He wanted to believe in a miracle, but deep down, even he knew that miracles didn't come for people like them anymore. Meanwhile, Janelle stood on her porch, staring out at the open land, the cool evening breeze brushing against her face. There was a calmness in her heart that she hadn't felt in years. The battles were over, for her at least, and though she knew the others were still tangled in their own storms, she finally felt free. She thought about the years she had given to the family, the compromises she had made, and the dreams she had set aside. But now, there was nothing stopping her from building the life she had always wanted. She wasn't angry anymore. The anger had burned out, leaving only clarity. And in that clarity, she realized something powerful. Sometimes walking away isn't losing, it's winning. Christine, on the other hand, was living in a different world altogether. Her laughter came easily now, her days filled with the kind of joy she had once thought she'd never experience again. David was by her side, always supportive, always reminding her that she deserved every bit of happiness life could offer. But every so often, late at night, Christine's thoughts would wander back to the old days. Not because she missed them, she didn't, but because she wanted to make sure she never forgot how far she had come. She had been trapped in a cycle of frustration, always trying to please someone who could never truly be pleased. Now, she was free, and that freedom was priceless. As the days passed, the distance between them all grew wider. Kody and Robyn withdrew further into their own bubble, trying to convince themselves that love was enough to survive the storm. Janelle built a new path with steady determination, while Christine embraced her fresh start with open arms. Meri remained an enigma, never fully in, never fully out, but always watching, always calculating. and somewhere in the midst of it all, the truth hung heavy in the air. The Brown family, as the world had once known it, was gone, replaced by a collection of individuals bound not by love or unity, but by a shared history that was both unforgettable and unfixable. The cameras would eventually stop rolling, the headlines would fade, and the world would move on to the next scandal. But for those who had lived it, the scars would remain. Some would heal, others would not. And in the quiet moments, when no one was watching, each of them would wonder the same thing. If they could go back, would they do it all over again? Or was this ending, painful as it was, exactly what they had needed all along?